What you're about to see may change your perception of what's happening behind bars.
The Channel 4 I-Team investigation exposes shocking video and photograph of what's apparently happening in our prisons. Inmates having a good time while your tax dollars pay for their food and housing. And perhaps the most stunning part of all of it is how the Channel 4 I-Team caught them. Here's our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley.
Well, we uncovered all this simply by getting on Facebook. And you're probably thinking, well, you have to have a phone or a computer to get on Facebook, and inmates don't have either behind bars. That's the problem. These inmates are operating the pages, not someone on the outside. And what they're showing themselves doing is infuriating victims and has the state facing real questions. Prison's rough, right? You're in a cell all day, the food isn't good, little to no communication with the outside, right?
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Well, welcome to Prison Life 2013. Drugs, smokes, mounds of snacks, cash, getting tattoos, the freedom to make music, even set things on fire, using forbidden technology to show it all off on Facebook.
This is the penitentiary, you hear me?
Back in there relaxing, you know what I'm talking about?
Relaxing, eating pizza, getting high, while you're paying for them to be here.
Anybody who sees those videos, they're going to be sickened by it, they're going to be angered by it.
And we're not talking about just a few inmates who figured out how to get on Facebook. Not 10, not 20, not 50. A Channel 4 I-Team investigation found more than 100 inmates in Tennessee prisons with Facebook pages. Their profile pictures taken inside their cells. Pages the inmates are operating from behind bars to communicate with family, friends, fellow gang members, even with inmates in other prisons.
I guarantee you that when the commissioner sees this, there's going to be a reckoning, and there should be.
You know, these are murderers, rapists, and other convicted criminals, and they appear to be having a pretty good time in prison.
And I don't like it, but it's a problem that we face today, and it's something that we work hard on every day.
And once you see the videos, you'll see why crime victims advocates like Verna Wyatt are infuriated. What we've uncovered is like a highlight reel of audacity.
That's the world right there.
That's convicted murderer Rivera Peoples. Here's the contraband iPhone he uses to make the videos. Listen to his buddy talk about getting high behind bars.
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Then he asked Peoples about how much money he's collected while he's been in prison.
How much money you got, Phil? 1,000?
I got 1,000. I'm 1,000. I'm definitely 1,000.
And he's not alone. Here's a photo we found of an inmate holding $200, and another inmate shared the same photo on his Facebook page, just like you would share a picture you liked. But let's get back to the videos.
You see me?
Peoples and his criminal pals are back. This time, it's daytime in the prison yard, telling everyone on Facebook that life behind bars, not so tough.
Between me and you, man, you feel me? This ain't half bad.
There's video of inmates watching TV, singing and rapping.
It was so real, it fills me with this nausea.
But none of that compares to convicted burglar Martez Wright, operating his Facebook page from inside the Shelby County Correctional Center, posting videos of his exploits while in a Memphis jail. First, he shows off what he says is marijuana. Then he talks about the side effects of smoking loud, a slang term for weed.
Man, everybody in here on this stupid loud. We all hungry.
And to satisfy his munchies, take a look at his spread.
Man, we hungry. We finna get ready to eat this feast. Scrumptious items that we get that we eat on a daily basis.
What they're doing is breaking the law. They're rubbing everyone's face in it.
There's also a real criminal element to all this. The Channel 4 I-Team examined more than 100 communications and found this. 2 inmates in 2 different prisons having a conversation on the Facebook wall. One saying, "I need to get with someone at your prison, send me your number." And the other inmate posts the number to call. So here are 2 inmates communicating with each other in 2 different prisons.
Well, it is a problem. Obviously, this is instant communication.
Assistant Commissioner Tony Parker is in charge of security in Tennessee's prisons. How can a guy set a shirt on fire without your correctional officers knowing?
You have one officer and 128 inmates in a prototypical housing unit. It appears that they have took something and covered up the door.
Parker looked at every photo and every video we found. This has to be embarrassing for you.
It's something I don't like, obviously.
State investigators have combed through 14 prisons and punished 70 inmates, all because of what the Channel 4 I-Team caught them doing.
Prisoners posting on Facebook using cell phones they aren't supposed to have, sharing pictures and videos that make it appear they're having a really good time in prison. Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley is at the big board with more on what he's found.
Yeah, some of the highlights or lowlights, as you might see it, that we showed you last night. Take a look. Here are some inmates setting a shirt on fire, posting that on Facebook. Here's another inmate saying that he is high on marijuana, posting it on Facebook. Another inmate showing $200. He's not supposed to have that, again, showing it on Facebook. But honestly, you haven't seen anything yet because some of the inmates posted their phone numbers and we decided to call them to see if they'd go through. And we've obtained even more photos and they show convicted murderers living it up and showing it off to the world.
We're not going to observe Miss Sadler lying on her back. Her head was bloodied.
When Ivan Marino was convicted of strangling and murdering her grandmother, Michelle Elliott thought his days of enjoying life were over.
Yeah, when I saw him in court, I figured I'd never have to see him again.
Then the Channel 4 I-Team showed her this, Marino's Facebook page. That's right, an inmate's Facebook page. Despite being behind bars, he's posting updates, commenting on pictures, even showing himself playing the guitar. His profile picture taken inside his jail cell.
My eyes started watering, I started shaking. I just couldn't believe I could see him again.
Marino is among the more than 100 Tennessee inmates the Channel 4 I-Team found on Facebook, operating their own social media pages, posting video, showing pictures, claiming they're using drugs, smoking, showing it off, all through using contraband smartphones. Convicted murderers, rapists, and other violent offenders enjoying all the perks of social media, including convicted murderer Brandon White, openly showing off two things you can never have in prison, his phone and his cash, $200.
That's not punishment. That is not any kind of a punishment. It's just like being out on the outside. It's still freedom for them.
White was convicted in the murder of Linda Wright's son.
We can never communicate again, and he has access to being able to communicate with the outside world.
And there was no hiding the fact they had phones. White and several other inmates posted their phone numbers. So we decided to call them, including White. Here's the number he posted. Is this Brandon? We tried to call him back, but no one answered. The rest of our calls either went to voicemails or the phones weren't in service.
Menace to society has use of social media, and that's just wrong.
These victims' families say when the criminals were sentenced, they never imagined them watching TV or burying themselves in junk food. Is this too extravagant for a guy to have who's behind bars?
But it's obvious the inmate is trying to be flagrant and showing us all this property and all this commissary. Obviously, it's an issue.
We asked the Tennessee Department of Correction how all of this can be happening while correctional officers are watching.
It's not an issue of not enough correctional officers. It's an issue of a nationwide problem that we're facing with cell phones and the struggle to stay on top of it.
Sometimes the inmates on Facebook even surprise their own friends and family with their freedom. We found several posts with people writing on inmates' Facebook walls, "How are you locked up?" and on Facebook.
Every Department of Correction struggles with contraband. It's something that I'm not proud of, but it's a reality.
I think my first question would be, how is this happening?
Obviously, someone is bringing the phones in. The state's own records show in a year's time, only one person, Jeanette Elliott, who was visiting an inmate at Northeast Correctional Complex, has been busted for trying to bring a cell phone into a prison. But as a result of our investigation, more than 50 phones were found. As soon as the Channel 4 I-Team brought our findings to the state, they immediately launched investigations in 14 prisons across the state, finding 53 cell phones, drugs, and a deadly weapon. 70 inmates now face disciplinary actions for having Facebook pages, and their Facebook pages now shut down. Both Marino and White's pages are now gone. Here's the thing, we've still been checking on Facebook and we continue to find more inmates with more Facebook pages. As for the TVs, inmates can have TVs, but they have to pay for them. They can also buy snacks, but they're not supposed to have that many like we've just shown you. We also reached out to Facebook for comment on that. They did not return our calls. Guys, we will continue to investigate this one.
Tonight, a state lawmaker says somebody's head should roll over what the Channel 4 I-Team exposed last week.
Well, if you didn't see it, you've certainly heard about it. Inmates partying behind bars and flaunting it on Facebook. And now we have learned it's not that new. Locked up Tennessee inmates have apparently been accessing Facebook for years. Our chief investigative reporter Jeremy Finley is at the big board with the story.
Yeah, first we found hundreds of photos on Facebook, inmates posting it of themselves setting shirts on fire and claiming to use drugs. So the state swept into 14 prisons and confiscated drugs, a deadly weapon, and 50 phones. But we kept on digging, and in just the past 2 weeks, we found even more pictures on Facebook from inmates. These are all new pages. I'll just keep swiping. You'll get the idea that this problem isn't going away anytime soon.
That's the world right there.
They wanted to be on Facebook, just not the news.
Don't be on CNN in the morning, man.
But after the Channel 4 I-Team exposed Tennessee inmates posting videos and pictures on Facebook showing them using drugs and partying, the state had Facebook shut down their pages. Problem solved, right? Not even close. The Channel 4 I-Team continues to look on Facebook and continues to find inmates with Facebook pages, displaying their cell phones, showing off their uniforms and Facebook photos. Convicted felon Dejon Roberts posted this picture of himself after he was fresh from the gym. And his buddy Bambino Duncan, who appears to be in a county jail, writes back on his Facebook page and tells him to give him a call. West Tennessee District Attorney Mike Donovan is not amused by what we've uncovered.
It's disturbing, it's offensive.
And neither is State Representative Mike Turner.
There's no excuse for that. And somebody's head needs to roll away. Somebody needs to lose their job over this. This is so bad. This is embarrassing.
Both are now asking for meetings with Department of Corrections Commissioner Derek Schofield. Just 5 days ago, the commissioner wrote this letter to DA Donovan, writing he'd love to implement cell phone jamming technology, but the FCC won't allow it. Here's the most interesting part of the letter. While he says as a result of our investigation, 70 inmates were disciplined, the state has deactivated hundreds of Facebook accounts in the past 3 years, meaning this problem existed years before we discovered it and continues to this day.
I want to know how this happens. How does this happen? I mean, there's no excuse. You're in one of the most controlled situations out there.
State Senator Mike Turner says what we've uncovered is proof that the legislature needs to bring back the Oversight Committee for the Department of Corrections. It was disbanded during cutbacks.
Well, it's a question many of you were asking after our recent Channel 4 I-Team investigation.
Here it is. How did all of those inmates get cell phones in order to access Facebook? Tonight, the Channel 4 I-Team has determined in many cases the correctional officers themselves are accused of bringing in the phones. Here's our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley.
Yeah, it comes as no surprise. We found family and friends of inmates, and in some cases, prison employees accused of smuggling in the phones. But one especially caught our attention. A correctional officer assigned to an elite strike force whose job it is to seek out contraband, now suspected of trying to bring it in. To get on here, they first had to get one of these. And a Channel 4 I-Team investigation found over and over again inmates in Tennessee prisons showing off their smartphones and posting pictures of their good times, claiming to be using drugs, hoarding food, setting a shirt on fire, communicating with inmates in other prisons, even making videos all posted to Facebook. But if you're behind bars, how do you get a phone? Department of Correction records show since 2011, 17 prison employees have been fired, accused of bringing contraband into the prison. The state's online records don't often detail what the contraband was, but in 5 of the 17 cases, they were specifically accused of bringing in cell phones or cell phone chargers.
I think from time to time, we have staff that make bad decisions.
The most recent firing and arrest of a correctional officer really gets under the assistant commissioner's skin.
I take it personal.
A correctional officer at Riverbend, Josh Jackson, was assigned to what's called Strike Force 3. They're an elite tactical group whose job it is to seek out contraband inside the prison. Jackson's termination letter shows on March 1st, after a random search on vehicles in Riverbend's parking lot, an empty phone container and marijuana wrapped in tape were found in his car. The letter reads, in discussions with an internal investigator, Jackson admitted to having met a female family member of an inmate at Riverbend and received a package of pills from her. The letter says while it can't be proven that Jackson brought the phone onto the compound and gave it to the inmate, he was still in violations of the state's policies.
If they make that choice to deal with an inmate, they're terminated and prosecuted.
We repeatedly attempted to contact Jackson for comment, but were unsuccessful. A spokeswoman for the Department of Corrections says that they passed along Jackson's case to the district attorney for possible prosecution. There is no record of him having been indicted. According to the state's records, by far the most people busted for bringing in cell phones are the family and friends of some inmates.
Well, we all let workers into our homes from time to time to fix something, install an appliance, maybe clean something. Ever wonder what some of them do when you're not looking?
Well, a lot of you may be wondering after you see this. The Channel 4i team went to work, got busy after getting complaints from people using a popular online coupon. And you're about to see it launched a criminal investigation and a search for fugitives. Jeremy Finley is here now with the extraordinary Channel 4i team investigation.
Well, talk about your unexpected twists. When 3 women came to us saying they had hired a cleaning company only to find their jewelry missing, we decided to try to catch them. So we set up hidden cameras in an apartment. We hired them to come clean it. And when they did, our hidden cameras were stolen. That's right, our cameras stolen. Well, not all our cameras. December 14th, Zach and Ithaca Jones are here to clean an apartment.
Hi, I'm great. How are you? Okay.
What they didn't know is that the Channel 4i team outfitted that apartment with our hidden cameras. And what we captured shows not a thorough cleaning, but a thorough casing. Finding jewelry in drawers, in a box, and wait till you see what he does in the closet. And we set up these cameras because of what happened to Gloria West, Allie Sands, and Danelle Walker.
And I almost feel like I paid someone to come in here and steal my stuff.
These 3 women all found Zach Jones's cleaning company, IGB Residential Cleaning Services, through an online coupon on Living Social. They did it to save money, but say it ended up costing them plenty.
All of my gold and fine jewelry was taken.
It's a devastating thing. You know, the items that I lost were things that I could never replace.
They went through everything.
Allie Sands also hired IGB to clean her house. She too discovered all her jewelry, including a diamond necklace, missing. Police later told her that Zach Jones pawned a diamond the day after he cleaned her house.
Well, I felt betrayed. I felt violated.
All 3 women reported the thefts to police and learned it was nearly impossible to prove that Jones or his cleaning service had stolen anything. So they turned to the Channel 4i team. We started digging and found out the man who they had hired to clean was a convicted thief out of Georgia. That's when we went to work, setting up cameras in several places, including this air vent, and hired IGB to come clean. The victims had all told us the cleaning crew didn't touch their costume jewelry, just took the good stuff.
These are not real pearls, and he knew it.
So we set out costume jewelry throughout the bedroom, wanting to see if he would scope out our rings and necklaces. But what happened next was something we never anticipated. When we returned to pay IGB, they were gone, and so were our hidden cameras. And they stole our hidden cameras. We called the police, filed a theft report, But remember, not all our hidden cameras were taken, and Zach Jones probably wishes he'd found this one. Jones walks into the bedroom and at some point goes directly to where we hid the camera in the vent. Check out how closely he examines that vent. Then he heads to the dresser, wastes no time. First, he goes for the ring in the drawer and doesn't just pick it up, he examines it closely. Then he moves to the jewelry box, taking out the ring in a bag. It's all fake, so he moves on. He hits the closet. He hasn't even cleaned a thing in the room yet. And what he did next, well, you just gotta watch. After blowing his nose in a scarf, he goes right for our jewelry bag we stashed away. Listen, you can hear him open it and go through it. It's all costume jewelry, and none of it was taken. But look at this. If you slow down the video, see what's in his left hand? Yeah, that's the viewfinder from one of our cameras. And it's interesting, the theft conviction from Georgia, guess what Jones stole? A computer, a scanner, and a camcorder. Well, immediately after our cameras were stolen, Metro Police got a warrant for his arrest. But for weeks now, they haven't been able to find him.
Of all the corruption and misdeeds the Channel 4i team has caught on camera, what we showed you last night is one forgettable story.
It's not only video of a convicted thief scoping out an apartment for jewelry, but it's the same guy police believe stole 3 of the I-team's own hidden cameras. Officers haven't caught him yet, but our chief investigative reporter did track him down. Here's Jeremy Finley.
Well, you can imagine how this conversation went. After all, we investigated him after women accused his company of stealing their jewelry after he and his crew cleaned their houses. And when we outfitted an apartment to try and catch it happening, our cameras got stolen. And after weeks of both the I-team and police trying to track him down, I got this call.
Jeremy, when you see this number pop up on your phone again, answer it.
That's Zach Jones, the guy accused of stealing jewelry from these women after they hired him and his company to clean their houses. The guy who we hired to clean this apartment so we could see if our hidden cameras caught him stealing. The guy caught on camera digging through drawers, boxes, and closets to closely examine jewelry. The guy who didn't wait to be paid for his cleaning and just vanished. And speaking of vanished, 3 of our hidden cameras weren't there when we returned. But he didn't get all our cameras. This one happened to capture him holding one of our missing cameras. After police didn't have any luck serving a warrant for his arrest, the Channel 4i team went to the home he shared with Ithaca Black Jones, who coordinated the cleaning for us and for all these women. Okay, well, we need to talk to you. Are you coming back to the house? Ithaca agreed to an interview, but then I got this message from Zach.
Answer the phone, and then we can talk. And I think it's what you want to hear. I'm quite sure this is going to be a very interesting conversation.
And he was right.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. I'd like to have my cameras back.
I'd like to have my attorney, but we can't always get what we want, can we?
He was quick to deny stealing from anyone, including these 3 women.
They went through everything.
In Allie Sand's case, a diamond necklace is among the jewelry missing. Police told her the day after Jones cleaned her house, he pawned a diamond.
She lied. That's the reason why she never got her back, because she lied. Nobody didn't take from her.
And as for our missing cameras,
I ain't got no camera, sir.
Tough to just accept that answer on face value. After all, one of the cameras that wasn't stolen showed quite a bit. And that's what our cameras showed, is you going through drawers, closets, and in through a box looking at jewelry. You want to explain to me why you were doing that?
Sir, in any cleaning company, sir, you are supposed to wipe down everything.
You're not wiping down these surfaces, sir. You're looking at this jewelry. You're scoping it out.
So let me tell you something, sir. First off, sir, I don't steal.
Yeah, well, what about his criminal history, including a conviction for theft?
That's just like saying once a thief is always a thief. That's a lie, sir.
And then there was the sudden disappearing act, leaving without getting paid. And does he have a great explanation for why they left?
Sir, some things, sir, are just contributions, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody needs blessings, right?
You said it was a contribution? What about that one shot of him looking closely at the vent? There we have video of you looking where the cameras were. Those cameras are gone and you're saying you don't know where they are?
No, sir.
And what about Jones's wife, who again arranges all the cleanings? She was there the day our cameras were stolen, and we were able to later track her down by phone as well.
I don't know anything about your cameras.
You understand that looks a little suspicious that you all have been accused of stealing jewelry, and then we return to the apartment and our cameras are gone.
Well, I understand that, sir. But, you know, on my end, I wasn't in the bedroom, so I don't know what was taken out of anybody's bedrooms. Thank you.
Hello? Hello? These women also feel betrayed by Living Social, the popular online coupon service where they and 596 others got the deal for Jones's cleaning company. Jones says he's the owner and he has an easily found criminal background. Well, a spokeswoman for Living Social sent us a statement reading in part, quote, "Prior to working with any merchant, we complete a thorough vetting process, which includes reviewing a merchant's online presence, researching online reviews and ratings, and checking public data sources to ensure potential partners are in good standing." Now, we asked specifically if they do criminal background checks, but Tom Demetria, they did not respond.
First, the Channel 4 team showed you what a hired house cleaner did when he thought no one was looking. Now, it's gotten a whole lot worse.
The head of this cleaning crew's already been accused of stealing from homeowners, even swiping the hidden cameras the I-team set up to catch them. But you haven't heard anything yet. Cancer patients are now coming forward, saying they too are victims of this husband-wife cleaning company. Our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley, here now with the latest twist.
Yeah, we now have police reports from all over Middle Tennessee of people who say they hired this company to clean their house and are now missing valuable jewelry and thousands of dollars in cash. And you can count in that number cancer survivors who thought they were getting a free cleaning, but say they got cleaned out instead.
I've never been so sick in my entire life.
Marty Irvin was deep in the throes of chemo.
I had lost 40 pounds. I was one of 6 cookies.
Jean George was battling breast cancer.
You're at your absolute lowest point.
So when the two women learned of a nonprofit that coordinates free house cleanings for cancer patients, they signed up. That's when IGB Residential Cleaning Service, run by Zach and Ithaca Black Jones, showed up.
What really upset me was he come in, talking about that they were going to do such a good job. They were doing this for cancer patients.
The stone was a European cut.
After the cleanings, Jean realized her 200-year-old family heirloom ring and other valuable jewelry were gone.
I think it's abominable.
And Marty was missing several gold necklaces and rings.
Oh, it makes me sick. I could just cry. It's horrible.
You're battling for your life, and you shouldn't have to worry about somebody coming in and taking your things.
These two women are the latest to say they're the victims of a crime spree uncovered by the Channel 4 team. To try and catch it happening, the Channel 4 team hired IGB and set up hidden cameras in an apartment. Our video showed Zach Jones casing out the costume jewelry we hid, even digging through jewelry we stashed in a bag in the closet. And when we returned to pay them, they were gone. And so were 3 of our hidden cameras. One of our cameras he didn't see captured him holding one of our missing cameras. We later tracked Jones down by phone. And that's what our cameras showed, is you going through drawers, closets, and in through a box looking at jewelry. You want to explain to me why you were doing that?
Sir, in any cleaning company, sir, you are supposed to wipe down everything.
You're not wiping down these surfaces, sir. You're looking at this jewelry. You're scoping it out.
Sir, let me tell you something, sir. First off, sir, I don't steal.
Ithaca Black Jones also told us by phone she didn't steal anything.
I don't know anything about your cameras.
When these cancer patients saw our investigation, they immediately recognized the husband and wife team.
It was like, oh my God. There they are.
We've identified 13 people so far who say they had their homes cleaned by IGB and had fine jewelry and money stolen.
He got the hundreds.
From $2,000 in cash hidden in Edna Urie's bottom drawer in Kingston Springs.
I was devastated, absolutely devastated. I felt like that I had just been molested.
Here's the envelope still in here. And that's the bottle.
To cash in an envelope along with back pain medication in Rochelle Young's top drawer in Mount Juliet.
They came in, they cleaned my house, and they left with $1,700 plus pain pills.
And despite all these alleged victims, Zach Jones is still somewhere out there. Police haven't been able to find him to serve a warrant.
As long as he's on the street, he's a menace.
None of these people hired IGB from referrals. They found them through online coupons from Sharing Spree to Living Social and the nonprofit Cleaning for a Reason. Well, we asked all three if they ever do criminal background checks on cleaning companies they partner with, because Zach Jones is a convicted felon out of Georgia. Well, only Cleaning for a Reason responded to our actual question, saying they don't do criminal background checks. By the way, we tried to reach both Zach and Ithaca Jones by phone, and their numbers have now been disconnected. Ithaca Black Jones, by the way, has not been charged in any crime.
The Channel 4i team has been uncovering quite a story. A cleaning crew accused of stealing cash and jewelry from clients.
And that includes some cancer patients. But tonight, you're going to hear from a woman who claims she caught them in the act. And police even came to investigate them. So why? Months afterwards, were they able to continue on what many are calling a crime spree throughout Middle Tennessee? Channel 4i team's Jeremy Finley continues his investigation.
Well, I think you're going to enjoy meeting Edna Uri. We've brought you a lot of stories about these people who say they were victims, but only realized it after the cleaning crew was gone. Well, Edna says she caught them, and this grandmother wasn't shy about trying to hold them accountable and get her money back.
Well, he was looking. I'm sure he looked all down through every drawer.
Edna Uri's jewelry box had more than just jewelry in it. It had a lot of money. After finding an online coupon for IGB residential cleaning services, she sat in another room while the door was closed to her bedroom and remembered the money.
And all of a sudden it hit me. I thought, oh, Lord, no. I had put that money in the bottom of my jewelry drawer.
So Edna went in, where she says Zach Jones was inside cleaning. You remember Zach. He's the guy who owns the cleaning company and came to all of these people's homes to clean. He's the guy who all these people believe then stole their jewelry. He's the guy the Channel 4i team caught on hidden camera, scoping out jewelry we had hid in an apartment. He's the guy accused of also stealing 3 of our hidden cameras. Here he is holding one of them. So back to Edna. When she says she went into the bedroom with Zach inside, she went right for the bottom drawer.
I had hundreds in one envelope, 50s in one, 20s in one, 5s in one. It was about $2,000.
And it was gone?
And it was gone. All of it was gone.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
He was laying right down in here.
Edna says Zach was laying on the side of her bed.
And I said, give me my money. And he said, I didn't get your money. I said, yes, you did. You got my money.
Edna says she found the envelopes that once held her money in this shoebox beneath the bed and believes she walked in on Jones as he was counting it out.
I was shaking like everything, and I called the police.
Edna says another woman on the cleaning crew then came into the room, and when police arrived, they searched the men on the crew, but not the women.
The police said they could not search her. All they could do was run the back of their hand over her. I mean, I'm sure the money was in here.
Also, Edna says Jones was wearing gloves the entire time, so there were no fingerprints on the envelopes, and the money was not on Jones or the other man on the crew. After the incident at Edna's house in Kingston Springs in late 2011 came these reports in 2012. People in Franklin, Mount Juliet, and Nashville all filing police reports saying they too had been robbed by IGB. But no one connected the dots until the Channel 4i team located all of the alleged victims.
I thought, hallelujah, I have prayed for this. Jeremy, I have prayed that he'd get caught. I mean, he's such a cool dude.
And Jones is still out there. Police haven't been able to find him to serve a warrant. Edna says she is also missing a ring. And also, Tom, we talked to Zach Jones by phone. He denies stealing anything.
What has become a problem all over the country is now surfacing in Nashville, and it affects any one of us who has a foreclosed home in our neighborhood. For months, the Channel 4 I-Team has been investigating a neighborhood's dispute with one man who is living in a house in foreclosure.
He doesn't own it, he doesn't rent it, but he says he can live there, and the police and codes are powerless to do anything about it. Here's our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley.
Well, neighbors and former property owners say what we've uncovered is a man who has found a way to capitalize on the foreclosure epidemic in the country. Our hidden cameras show even when he doesn't know he's on camera, he walks away from any question about why he's able to live in a house he doesn't own or rent. Hey, how you doing? Ashley King doesn't know he's on hidden camera talking to the Channel 4 I-Team. All he knows is that he's talking to some guy who showed up to ask about what it's like to live in this neighborhood. But when this question comes up... You own one of the places or do you rent it? King didn't want to talk about if he owns or rents this home because he doesn't make mortgage payments, he doesn't pay the landlord. You see, this house has been foreclosed, but none of that keeps him from living here.
We asked him, why are you here? And he said, well, I'm here because I want to be here, and I'm going to continue to be here.
And a Channel 4 I-Team investigation found this isn't the first place he's lived that he didn't own or rent.
I figured after he did to me, he knew the ropes so well, how to stay in there for a period of time. He had to have done it before.
King's former and current neighbors say he's a squatter. It's a term that's been around for a while, but it's earned a whole new distinction since the foreclosure crisis. From Rochester, New York,
and they feel they have the right to be somewhere without paying for it,
to Dallas, Texas, people have moved into foreclosed homes without ever paying a dime. How much did you pay for the house?
I don't know.
Much to the anger of their neighbors, saddled with mortgages or rent payments.
Yeah, I pay property taxes, I pay HOA fees, and so when they come out to do those services, he gets to be a benefactor of that.
King's current home is in this North Nashville neighborhood. From wood floors to attractive fireplaces, the neighbors here take real pride in their homes. So the busted windows in the home King occupies doesn't sit well, and they're also not happy about how King ended up here in the first place. Last January, the body of the previous owner was found in the house. An autopsy showed he'd been dead for months, and he died from natural causes. Fast forward 8 months later, this August 16th report shows neighbors called to report someone had broken into the house, that someone had entered through a side window, and the ceiling fans were on upstairs. A Channel 4 I-Team investigation found that same month, King put the NES bill in his name, and the water department shows the bill is still in the name of the deceased homeowner and is paid for each month in cash. And when police knocked on the door that August 16th day, King answered. According to the report, King said he had a right to be at the residence and that he had made a promise to the deceased homeowner that he had once worked with. Police went in and found feces remnants from the previous owner on the hardwood floor, and that King couldn't provide any documentation that he's a resident and was told to leave and not return. Today, he's still there.
I can't even explain to you the level of frustration at this point.
The president of the Homeowners Association says they've tried everything to get him out. They called police, but the house has been foreclosed, and the trustee of the house, U.S. Bank, hasn't pressed trespassing charges. They called codes, and all they could do was file this civil warrant to get the windows fixed.
All I can do is ask the guy to leave, but I can't make the guy leave because I don't own the property.
Mr. King? And when we went to the house, this time with our camera in full view, King again answered the door. Several of your neighbors say that you actually are a squatter and don't actually have any reason to be here.
It's not true.
Sir, can you provide any documentation that you actually can live here? And the Channel 4 I-Team found this isn't the first time King has been accused of being a squatter.
It took me about 6 months to get him out.
Woodard Frost even filed a civil warrant against King. Frost had this house for sale by owner, and King approached his family, saying he was in real estate, and at the time, the state shows King did have a broker's license. That's since expired. Frost says King offered to show the house if he could live in it for 1 month and pay rent for that month. 6 months later, having never paid rent, Frost did what no one else in this neighborhood has been able to do, and that's have King evicted.
I think he's a sharp cookie to live off of somebody else for free for as long as he does.
Mr. Frost successfully won his case, and King was ordered to pay him more than $3,000 in back rent, but he's never paid. King is expected in court at the end of this month on the civil warrant because of the broken windows. And he's not paying his HOA fees either, and the Homeowners Association is taking him to court for past fees. Now, the only entity that would actually get him out of the house is the bank that owns the property. Well, at this time, U.S. Bank is the trustee, and they referenced our questions to Bank of America, who U.S. Bank says is actually responsible for that property. And all Bank of America spokeswoman could say is that the foreclosure process is underway, even though records show it's already been foreclosed.
A man at the center of an ongoing Channel 4 I-Team investigation is now in jail.
And it's all because of what the I-Team caught on video. Now, we first told you about Ashley King in May. This home on 28th Avenue went into foreclosure last year. King moved in and refused to leave. Neighbors came to the I-Team for help, and we reported Tuesday legal action is finally in motion to kick him out. But that day, the I-Team's camera caught something much more serious at that home, leading police to step in. Our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley, is here with some extraordinary developments. And Jeremy, the police asked you to hold off until now on reporting this.
That's right, Tom. It's been a real roller coaster over the last 48 hours. The Channel 4 I-Team first learned Tuesday night that one of the 2 girls we found at the foreclosed home was a 15-year-old runaway. Since then, police have been searching for them and Ashley King, the man accused of squatting in that home. The video you're about to see has prompted criminal charges, the discovery of a 16-year-old runaway, and an ongoing search for a 15-year-old on the run. Well, we're with Channel 4. When we arrived at the house on 28th Avenue North Tuesday, we were surprised to see 2 young women there. After all, we'd come here to try and interview Ashley King, a man our investigation found had been squatting in this foreclosed home for nearly a year. And when our cameras got closer, the girl on the deck said this.
And it's definitely her.
When Angela Bryant saw our story featuring the girls, she immediately called me and said that's her 15-year-old runaway cousin, Chloe Bryant. Angela is Chloe's legal guardian. Here's a photo of Chloe from Memorial Day. Here's the girl we saw on the deck. Angela says some of the clothes drying outside the foreclosed home are Chloe's and recognized the girl's voice when she realized she was on camera.
My heart was broken because she doesn't know anything about this guy. I don't know him.
For the next 24 hours, police scrambled to try and find King and the girls, taking out this arrest warrant, citing the Channel 4 I-Team video and reporting as evidence to charge King. At 6:45 this morning, detectives arrived at the foreclosed home with the warrant, but no one answered the door. Then officers returned this afternoon to make another attempt and were surprised when the other girl from our video answered the door and admitted she's only 17.
Through their investigations, they found out that she was a missing juvenile out of Mount Juliet.
Metro detectives were stunned when King himself then arrived to pick up the girl.
He ended up showing up at that location to pick that juvenile up, and we took him into custody at 1909 28th.
Can you tell me what you were doing with those girls? King said nothing as he was brought into booking this afternoon. What's a 50-year-old man doing with a 15-year-old girl?
It's scary because I'm wondering what he has these teenage girls doing and why he has them at their house.
King is now charged with 2 counts of harboring a runaway child. We are not giving the name or showing the face of that 17-year-old because she's a juvenile. But guys, we are showing the picture of Chloe. She's still missing. They think she's still on the run. They're asking for the public's help to find her.
How serious are these charges against King?
Well, actually, the charges themselves are misdemeanors, but there's an ongoing investigation. I asked the police today, could there be more charges? They said that's very likely.